Hey guys, I want to talk to you about a new knife I just got. It's a fairly cheap and expensive knife, nothing too fancy, but I got it and I like it, so I just wanted to kind of show you what it was. Um, like I said, this isn't a very sought after or expensive or you know highly collectible or you know mid tech kind of knife. This is nothing like that. This is just going to be kind of a cheap Chinese made. Um, Knife, and some of you may, see it off to the left. So I'm just going to scoot it into frame here. Wait a minute, that's not it. Oh, okay. Never mind, scratch that. So I guess today we're going to be looking at a knife that is all of those things. So without further ado, let's take a look at this Hinderer. Yes, this is a Hinderer XM18. I recently got this off the off Blade Forums, and I just kind of wanted to do a video and just kind of show what I think about it, my overall take on the knife, and just some stuff. So first off, this is the probably most expensive knife that I've ever owned. These will go from anywhere from $750 to about $800 on the forum. And that's kind of an astronomical price. I sold two two knives that I really like to get this guy. I sold my zero tolerance 560 with the Lightning Strike carbon fiber scale, and I sold my Volt to get this. And really, I just wanted to kind of give it a shot and just see what all the hype was about, and I had to give it a shot for myself. So I found a XM18 flipper, which I wanted the flipper, and I found it in the slicer grind, which I wasn't really 100% looking for, but I figured, the Spanto is so thick that I figured that this would cut better. And the only one I could find was in this worker finish, which is fine, and I wanted the stonewashed titanium, so I found one. So what do I think about it? Well, first off, just like any high-end knife, there's a level of build up that in anticipation. If you've never had a specific model before, same kind of thing with the Chris Reeve. If you've never had a Chris Reeve and you go and you buy your first one without ever experiencing a knife like that or that type of knife, it's a bit of a letdown because it's still just a knife. It doesn't there's nothing magic about it. But then, those knives tend to kind of find their way into your pocket and find their way kind of into your rotation more, and they kind of win your favor over slowly. They grow on you extremely well, and this one has. And there's a couple things about this that I really like. First off, the G10 is really, really high quality. It's not super spiky in its texture, but it's got this cool 3D pattern on it that that will actually see if I can get it to focus here. It's got this cool 3D pattern that adds grip in this direction, but then doesn't add any grip this way, so that you get a really good textured grip, going in and out, but then going side to side, it's very smooth. So that I really like. Next thing I like about it is just how it looks. The screws are flat and machine finished. They look really nice and attractive. And then the titanium is nice and stonewashed, and that lends a really nice kind of high end look to it. Just overall, this knife looks really badass. Flipped out, it's just got this kind of menacing appeal to it. A couple things right away. The ergonomics you'll probably know and hear a lot about, and they are really good. I like knives that have this kind of slow drop to the back because they feel your palm a little bit better. And then you've got the signature, three-finger choil followed by the single choil. It's got this nice deep cutout for the G10. Which adds a lot of comfort. Then it's got the forward choil. This I don't really use a whole lot. But you know, this is pretty much how I handle the knife, and I like the flipper because it makes it feel nice and secure. So I really like this. Ergonomics are fantastic. The jimping is perfect. It's got this big chunky type of jimping, which, you know, might not be everyone's favorite, but it's not only chunky, but it's also got kind of a little, it's a little toothy, so it grips you just a little bit. So you've got that, you know, big thick jimping that a lot of people like, and you've also got the that kind of texture, that spiky, you know, jimping that a lot of people like. It's got it on the spine, it's got it on the butt end, it's got it on the fingers, the 3-finger choil. So you've got, you know, grip down here when you're holding the knife. You've got a grip down here when you're holding the knife. You've got, you know, grip up top when you're cutting, and then if you have it in reverse grip, you've got grip for your thumb and also grip for your pointer finger. So, and grip for your, you know, your hand. So it's really grippy, and without being aggressive. The Hinderer, Rick Hinderer, he's a really stand-up guy. First off, he is a firefighter, and he's obviously a custom knife maker, as well as a, you know, business owner. He owns, obviously, Rick Hinderer Knives. He's a custom knife maker. He's a firefighter. He's a really cool guy. You know, these knives sell for double what he charges for them. You know, so he's not, you know, that huge price tag that I mentioned earlier. You know, he's not making the money off of this. He has kept his price, you know, at the level that he believes that, you know, he should sell them at, and he's sticking to that, and that's just awesome. And that kind of drives the, you know, the want and need for these up, the, you know, the demand. So, but Rick Hinderer makes different colored scales for these. He makes different color scales for these. I got a blue one on order. Blue and orange are the two most popular. And it's not because, you know, I didn't get the blue because it's popular, but I like blue. So I got the blue. I plan on getting the blue anodized standoffs and the blue pocket clip as well. And that's another thing you'll notice about these Hinderers. There's a lot of stuff you can do to kind of accessorize them, which is really cool. Sorry about that. Which is really cool. So you can get your pocket clip, you can get an anodized pocket clip, you can get an anodized filler, you can get a different G10 slab, you can get standoffs in a different color, you can get kind of skull or flaming horse head fillers for this, you can get bullet attachments for this, and all kinds of cool stuff, which I think makes these even more popular, that you can kind of accessorize them. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. The frame lock on this guy, if you're just talking about, you know, just the frame and how it locks up, is a really well executed. It's fairly early, and it's fairly shallow cut, which means it's going to lock up solid, less prone to slippage, and lots of room for wear. And you know, this is good lock geometry. So this tension on this doesn't need to be too hard in order to get that good geometry, or that good lockup, because it has that good geometry. If you follow the lock bar down, here's your cutout. It's fairly thin. It's not super thick, and it's not super wide. So I mean, it's decent. It's average, and it's on the side that I want it to be too, on the inside. Putting it on the outside puts extra stress on the cutout. There's been a recent string of videos talking about liner locks versus frame locks. I was going to make a separate video response to it, but I'm not going to. I'll just mention it briefly here. The thing you got to remember is, even if you have a liner lock that's this thin and extends the full length of the blade, that liner is still less strong than this. If this is the exact same size, width as a liner, as well as, you know, the same length or same width this way and same thickness, but it's much longer in that thickness, like it carries this thin section all the way up, that is weaker than this frame lock. Why is that? Because this is imagine, you know, the longer this is, the less force that it can endure squeezed. So, you know, I don't remember the exact terminology from school, but, you know, if I have a very small section here and I press this way, so I press inward on each side, press in this way, this is going to endure more force than something that is longer, because that longer section every point is as weak as this, which means that it's got much more tendency to a larger tendency to flex than this does. This isn't going to flex per se. If it's going to go, it's just going to go, and it's going to take more force for it to go because it only has one spot where it can actually flex to cause a failure. So that's all I'm really going to say about liner versus frame lock. That's why frame locks are better, because they carry more thickness and just leave a smaller section, as the spring for the lock. So the pocket clip, and that's all I'm going to say about the lock bar. So good lock bar. The pocket clip is not super deep. It leaves a little bit of metal sticking out, but I don't mind it. I actually like it. The clip is actually really nice. Going in and out of your pocket is really easy. It grabs on whatever material you've got, and that material just shoots under there, and it holds it very solid. And then you've got a nice little grip to actually pull out on the knife. So I like that. I like the pocket clip. So I'm a fan of the pocket clip, and it looks really cool too. So the other thing I was going to say is the flipper on this isn't really all super effective. Now, granted, this might be because I have an early. This was brand new when I got it, so this might be fairly might need to break in. But if I press it, there's no detent. Well, there is a detent, but it's not super strong, so I can shake the blade out pretty easily. I'm trying to do this behind the camera. So when I press on this, it just kind of flings out. If I press as hard as I can, that's there we go. And honestly, that's probably the first time I actually got that to work, holding it this way. If I hold it up, it's not. No chance, and that's usually how I hold it. What that says, this knife is super smooth. The detent isn't strong, and I can use the thumb studs easily, and it's very smooth throughout the whole motion. It's just as smooth as anything else that I've owned. So that makes this flipper a little harder to actuate, but as you see, just with some practice, you can get it to fly out. You just got to have gravity on your side, and give it a good flick, and you should be fine. So overall, this has probably become one of my favorite knives. For all the reasons I mentioned, super thick and beefy. The standoffs are nice and thick. The blade is nice and thick. Even on the slicer grind, you've got this nice thick tip, that you don't really have to worry about. Super attractive looking. Ergonomics are great. It comes from somebody who, a knife maker that I trust and respect, and it's got everything that I really like about it. So I was happy to get this. I don't know if I would, sell off two of my favorite knives again to get another one, but I definitely am already looking for a Spanto. So I'm looking to get a Spanto all stonewashed because I really want one of those to kind of complete the collection. So that's really all I got to say. Super awesome knife. Really like it. That's pretty much it. Feel free to comment. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer anything that you guys got. So thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good one.